It's actually quite a comfortable spot down here. Welcome back to another episode. I have some parts for the fuel system now, so I will work on that next. As usual, I have a couple of different pipe fittings, so I need to figure out what adapters I may need. I have a couple of adapter pieces for this pump, so the line should fit straight on. I have some fuel pipe, Bosch 44 type pump, high flow motorsport filter, and a 1.5 litre swirl pot. As the swirl pot is the largest item, it makes sense to have it at the lowest point, which is further back here. The outlet from the pump needs to face the front of the car because that's where it's going to, the engine. The filter is pre-pump, so it makes sense to go behind the pump. For those who are wondering, the reason I have a swirl pot here is the design of the Subaru tank as standard is not great for grip driving. If you're running low on fuel and you're doing lots of bends at once and the fuel's sloshing around, it's ideal to have a swirl pot. So essentially it keeps a certain level of fuel in this tank, so you'll never run dry or you'll never run lean and you'll never get any surge. The outlet is the bottom, so it'll be going through the high flow filter around the back, and it creates a nice flow into the fuel pump here. The new adapter piece on the fuel pump is directing to the outside of the car. It will run across the floor pan down on the edge here, through the cutout I made previously, up to the engine. The return pipe from the fuel rail will come down the same route, back up and into this pipe here, which is the highest bit on the side of the swirl pot. And then the return to the tank is this top, which will go straight back down into the tank. Having the layout like this makes a small base, so I'll make an aluminium plate that all these parts can be bolted to. I need to go as far as I can to the centre of the car as I can get away with. This allows for the ducting for the airflow on the vents. I've now decided to change the orientation about 45 degrees. It helps it clear anything else like the ducting. It's a better alignment for the pipes to go down to the tank. Also, the alignment of the outlet from the pump is directed straight to the corner where I want it to drop down to the floor well. In order to mount the platform to the car, I'm going to simply weld in some studs. So I'll have 3 points, probably use like a triangle shape. So they'll be welded down, and then I can set the height I want with nuts underneath it. Before I go ahead and start any welding, I will remove the fuel tank. I have all the layouts in place now, so when I remove the fuel tank, I can clean it and prep it so it can go in and stay in. The only other larger component, which will be in this area back here, and I need to weld some studs in, is for the battery mount. I have this aluminium holder which will go around here somewhere, so I'll get this welding done before I put the fuel tank back in. With the studs welded in, I have nuts on these two to adjust the levels. That one will sit flush with the plate. I cannot level this properly until the car is settled on the ground, so with the adjustable nuts, once it's all down, I can move it if I need to get it slightly better. Again, I need to bear in mind the clearance for the ducting pipes. Once again, I want the lowest centre of gravity as possible, so having the battery as far down as it can in this general area is optimum, and it is. With this, I can simply drill straight through the car and bolt down to the ground. I have now decided to change the position of this plate slightly. The way it bolts through to the underside of the car is not ideal for future proofing. If the nut comes off when the fuel tank's in, it's going to be impossible to get it back on. So if they rattle loose over time, it could cause a problem. So now I'll do the same as I did for the fuel mount. I will make some studs that this can drop straight onto, and it will all be internal in the car, so any repairs I can do internally. Having the battery in this orientation is going to be better for the induction piping from the side. The only disadvantage is it's slightly higher in the car. It's about 25mm higher, which is a disadvantage for the centre of gravity. The next job is to make a cover for this battery tray. It's just going to be a simple cover. There won't be any sides on it, and I need to just make a cutout for the induction pipe. This will be the cover for the fuel system, so again I need to cut the corner off just to make sure it clears the induction pipe. Next I'll weld in some more studs into the chassis for these covers. Before I get too carried away on cleaning up these pieces and making them final, I will dry fit any other parts around it, so if I need to adapt these covers I can do it. Then I can mount them on foam and I can tidy up the edges. So we are slowly getting through the jobs. As far as the internal layout of the car, I have now ordered a passenger seat, so that should arrive soon. Once that is installed, then I can start working on the centre console and any other cabin parts that I may have trouble with space. Before I get both seats in the car and set them up, I'm going to get the pedals back in the car, and then I can fine tune the position where I want to be, and then that will ultimately dictate where a lot of the controls are, switches. I need to be able to reach them while I'm buckled in. You know, I keep saying how I've got a Subaru floor pan and everything will bolt straight on. Well, that's a lie. When I made the blanking plate for the roll cage there, I blocked the hole for the throttle cable, so I've just drilled it out so I can bolt it nice and flush up in there. I'll just show you the clearance I have for this cable. It's tight between the master cylinder and the cage, but the angle, it's fairly straight, so the cable should work still. As I offer this up, I'm also looking where I can reduce some of the metal on this plate to save a bit of weight on each part. Fortunately, the brake assembly just bolts straight in. I can now mark out where I can afford to lose some of the material from the housings of each pedal. Thanks for watching another episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.